You know, most people out there think that you have to sell all your stocks or show perfect tax returns and have these immaculate finances in order to buy a home. But what if I told you that the 1%, the rich, the people that we love to demonize, actually do the opposite? They're acquiring multi-million-dollar properties without selling another asset, without showing income in most cases. And here's the amazing kicker and why it's important for you is that it doesn't matter whether you're buying a $500,000 home or a $5 million. Today, I'm gonna expose to you the secret mortgage playbook that could save you hundreds of thousands of dollars in tax implications or just money that you don't have to part with right now. This is the mindset of the 1%, and it's why the rich get richer, or if anything, they just continue to stay rich. But before we get into that, my name is Arjun Dhingra. I am a 24-year mortgage veteran. I've helped thousands of families and individuals here in the Bay Area acquire homes and build their real estate portfolio. We help people make smarter decisions around mortgage debt and understand that this is an actual strategy, not just a one-off transaction, which quite honestly, you don't even need me for. You could go online and apply for one. So if me and my team can be of help to you to help put together a strategy for buying something in the future, or you have an immediate need right now to take part in this San Francisco Bay Area market, then please reach out to me on Instagram at Arjun Mortgage, and my team and I would be honored to assist you in any way that we can. Appreciate you guys listening and following this channel. If you could give it a like for us so that we can reach more people with content like this. Now let's get into today's topic about how the rich get richer. Now, before I dive into these specific programs and actual strategies, you got to understand the fundamental difference between the 1%ers and the rest of us. They never sell assets. They continue to acquire things, they leverage them and build their portfolio and long-term wealth, but they never sell anything. Think about it. The ones that we demonize are in that position because they own so many things, and we say you have too much or you have more than enough. Give some of that up. You make too much money. But again, this comes from the accumulation and holding of assets. So if they never sell them, what do? They're actually borrowing against them. They're leveraging. And there's an art to this, and that's what we're gonna get into. Because anybody can do this, regardless of how much you might own already. There are ways to leverage your existing holdings to help you acquire more things. And if you rinse and repeat this model, you'll be well on your pathway to becoming one of the 1%. The tax advantage philosophy is what drives every decision the wealthy make about real estate financing. Selling stocks to buy a home triggers capital gains taxes, which in some cases can be 24 to 38% for high earners, depending on what state you're in. Now here in California, that's definitely going to be on the higher end. For example, if you sold 500,000 in Amazon stock, it could cost you 120 to 190,000 in taxes. But wealthy buyers would rather pay 7 to 9% interest than 24 to 38% in taxes. And this math makes perfect sense when you break it down. Paying $35,000 to $45,000 in annual interest versus losing 120 to 190,000 in actual realized taxes is a no-brainer. And the leverage principle is what makes this all really unique because it allows your assets to continue growing over time while you borrow against them. It's almost like getting to freeze time, but take advantage of the situation that you've already created for yourself. Because by using existing assets as collateral, a buyer can not only complete their transaction, but continue to enjoy the wave of appreciation or gains from those existing assets over time. That's right. When you borrow against them, the value of that portfolio can continue to climb even though you leveraged it. And you did so while acquiring another asset that's probably going to be on the rise as well. So you get to keep your investments growing while accessing their value. You can create multiple streams of wealth building will actually happen simultaneously. Your stocks continue to appreciate while you build equity in real estate. And the other thing here about the wealthy guys is that speed and competition give them a massive advantage in these hot markets. They can make cash-like offers without using all cash. Faster closings in these markets as opposed to what a traditional mortgage can do because there's no employment verification, which given the government shutdown recently actually is a major leg up because a lot of those verifications go through some type of a federal agency or income verification. And the wealthy ultimately can win bidding wars while still preserving all their assets. Okay, so now let's get into what these strategies are, the actual loan programs. And we're going to start with the most popular one for people who are wealthy, which is borrowing against their stocks. These are called margin loans. And the simple definition is your stock portfolio is your down payment, or some of it actually. Imagine being able to use your investment portfolio as a down payment without selling a single share. That's exactly what margin loans allow you to do. And it's how many tech professionals in this crazy and wild market are buying homes in 2025. Now, how margin loans work actually, guys, is much simpler than most people think. You can borrow against 30 to 50% of your portfolio value at rates ranging from 8 to 13% depending on your balance size. So this gives you quick access to funds without selling investments. And it means you can move fast on opportunities. Again, being as competitive as a cash offer without having to pay all cash. And many mortgage companies don't actually count the repayments on that margin loan against your qualification. So this creates a powerful loophole for those larger mortgages. So some real world examples can show you just how powerful this strategy can be. With a $1 million portfolio, you can access up to $500,000 for a down payment. A Schwab Pledged Asset Line, or PAL, charges just 1.55%, which is just 0.05% over the secured overnight financing rate. Fidelity, Morgan Stanley, and other major brokers have similar programs. For even lower rates, you'll want to consider securities-backed lines of credit, which are a little bit different from margin loans. Now, there is risk associated with these. It's not just all sunshine and rainbows. Risk management is key when it comes to borrowing this way. Margin calls can happen if your portfolio drops significantly. So these are best used for short-term bridge financing until you sell your previous home or whatever else you might be doing to acquire some more funds to put forth towards the deal. Now, many wealthy buyers use it as a temporary form of financing and then pay it off in 6 to 12 months. So it's a great way to play a fast shell game with your money. The key to all of this, though, and all the wealthy will tell you this, is to have a very clear-cut exit strategy. And speaking of asset-based lending, the next strategy when it comes to financing actually uses your assets and is a great alternative when you don't have a lot of tax return income to show or prove that you're worthy of borrowing. These are called asset-based loans. You could qualify for $1 million mortgage without showing a single pay stub or a tax return. It sounds crazy, but it's true. And that's the power of asset-based lending, and it's changing the game for wealthy buyers. Personally, we do a lot of these loans within our team because many of our buyers are very asset rich, but income is a little bit gray. So the asset depletion method turns all of your assets into qualifying income that you can use towards buying a property. Lenders will use 70 to 80% of retirement and investment accounts and up to 100% of regular bank accounts. They'll divide those assets by 5, 7, or 10 years for qualifying income. For example, $2 million in assets divided by 7 years equals $285,000 annual dollars of qualifying income. So this method completely bypasses traditional income documentation. And it's really perfect for specific buyers that aren't the traditional cookie cutter loan applicant. Specifically, it applies for a lot of self-employed buyers who have large numbers of write-offs and are literally showing little to no income on paper. In a traditional lending scenario, they'll walk into a large bank and be declined. But with lenders like us, they'll get a green light. Other people that can benefit from this are retirees with substantial assets but a fixed income, or business owners with complex K1s and multiple entities. Essentially, anyone who shows low income on paper but has high net worth. No income documentation, guys, means a streamlined process. There's no hassle of gathering certain pieces of paperwork. We just get all of your assets collected, work the formulas, and give you that qualifying income so that you can make the offer and close on the deal. It's a faster underwriting process because there's obviously less to verify, which means you can set up for a faster closing, which also gives you a leg up in negotiating power. So it's just an ideal loan for people with complicated tax situations. Now, if you are looking for the secret weapon out there that is helping the top 1% acquire vast empires of real estate, then the DSCR loan is it. And this is the next product we want to talk about here. This is really how people are building insane wealth through real estate right now in today's market, regardless of what market that might be. And you'll notice this if you look at wealthy people, because they don't have necessarily just homes to live in. Sure, they might have their home or a vacation home, but they have lots of other assets, sometimes not even that glamorous, but they're producing income. So they have tax advantages, they have monthly income advantages, and appreciation upside with owning these types of property. And that's why DSCR loans are really special. It stands for debt service coverage ratio. And how it works is really revolutionary for real estate investors because it lets you qualify based on rental income and not your personal income. And it's how investors all across the country right now are scaling their portfolios fast. In my opinion, this is one of the most revolutionary products that's out there in the marketplace. At our bank, we can do this for up to 10 units. That means you don't have to go out and actually acquire a very expensive, harder to qualify for commercial loan, which is what would be needed for anything over 4 units. Instead, the rent rolls on that property will help determine what kind of a down payment you need to make, and your income doesn't matter for shit. So as I mentioned, you qualify based on the property's rental income versus expenses. There's no personal income verification required at all. You need a 1.1 to a 1.5 DSCR ratio, which means 10 to 50% positive cash flow. Now, the investment strategy, as someone who's going out and looking for properties, becomes unlimited with this DSCR loan. The coolest thing is there is no limit as to how many DSCR loans you can have. You can also close in an LLC name for asset protection, and it's the perfect loan of choice for people to buy short-term vacation rentals or those Airbnb properties. Rates in 2025 have typically ranged from 6.75 to 7.75. And the other thing to keep in mind is you usually need about a 20 to 25% down payment at a minimum. Credit scores can be as low as 660, depending on the lender. The property needs to be cash flowing or break even. And the way to adjust just that is by increasing your down payment. And of course, the appraisal must include a rental income analysis. Now, privacy and asset protection are huge for the 1%, which brings us to our next loan product, which is buying privately and protecting their assets through LLCs and trusts. If you want to buy a home without your name appearing in public record or protect your properties from lawsuits, then you do what the wealthy do, which is use LLCs and trusts to stay under the radar. LLC ownership benefits go well beyond just privacy. Your personal name stays hidden from public records. It creates liability protection between properties, and each property that you own can be in its own separate LLC. For double layer protection, an LLC can be owned by a trust. Now, trust strategies add a whole nother level of sophistication and strategy when it comes to owning property. Sometimes these loans require a personal guarantee from the lender, and interest rates are slightly higher, but it's well worth it for the protection and the trade-off. But these strategies are very specific to each state. So if you have interest in learning more about this, please reach out to us and we can connect you with a professional in that state that can help you set up these types of loans or just help you learn more about them. Now, this final strategy is what separates the investing amateurs from the real true pros, and it's the difference between winning and losing in most property bids, and that is bridge loans and 1031 exchanges. This is considered advanced wealth building. Just what if you could make an all-cash offer on your dream home before selling your current one? Or you defer the taxes forever while building a real estate empire. So these final two strategies are the crown jewel of wealthy buyer tactics. Bridge loans give you the power to buy before you sell. This is another product that's been really popular here in the Bay Area, particularly during COVID, where people just started kind of walking around and looking at homes and then suddenly saying, well, we need more space. We weren't planning on selling, but this home looks really nice. But oh, damn it, we're not quite ready to sell our house. We need to clean it up. We need to bring it ready. We need to get it ready to put on the market. And if everyone remembers, especially during that COVID market, there was no time to wait for anything. You had to move exceedingly fast, historically fast. So this is where bridge loans really took off here in the San Francisco market. We did a number of these loans, and it really helped people secure homes that they would have otherwise never been able to go after because they weren't quite ready to sell. Hell, they weren't even thinking about selling until just a few days prior. And the way it works is you access the equity from the exiting property to help you acquire the new property. The other good thing about why these loans are so prevalent and easier to approve in the Bay Area is there's been so much appreciation, and the average Bay Area homeowner, specifically in San Francisco and in Marin County, is sitting on a lot of equity. So that equity actually helps you as a silver bullet in being able to acquire another property here, and doing so fast, because bridge loans can close really quick. In many cases in 14 days or less, and they function just like a cash offer. There's no contingencies attached to it. So it's very appealing for a seller. And yes, the interest rates are a little bit higher and there are some points or costs attached to it, but that's the premium for being able to get into a home without having to sell your home. So it's perfect for winning bidding wars in uber competitive markets. Now, 1031 exchanges create the tax deferral machine. You defer capital gains taxes indefinitely on investment properties by basically rolling everything that you sold from one investment property into the next one, provided that it meets the actual guidelines. There are some rules about when you have to identify the property and close in terms of getting it all done within a certain number of days. But this loan or investment strategy on its own has helped create more wealth for people in the United States than any other great feature of an asset class. People have continually rolled funds and proceeds from one investment property sale into something bigger and pyramided their way towards dominant wealth, all while avoiding taxes. You see, the tax code is not there to be cheated. It's actually there to help you. It gets very politicized, and people say that only the rich take advantage of it, when actually just only the rich have been the ones reading it. But anyone can read it. Everyone has access to it. It's just that people feel it's a game that's rigged against you, when in actuality, it's a game that's there for you. The US tax code is written to help people pay less in taxes. Just no one wants to read it. And then it gets a bad rap as only favoring the uber wealthy. But if you want to take advantage of it, it's accessible. You just have to do so. So there you have it, guys. This is the exact playbook and the strategies that the 1% use to acquire more properties and build more wealth. From margin loans that preserve your stock portfolio, to DSCR loans that require none of your income, from asset-based lending that ignores all of your income and tax return problems, to LLCs that will help protect your privacy. The key is understanding that wealthy buyers think differently. They leverage assets instead of liquidating them. They prioritize tax efficiency over simplicity, and they use sophisticated strategies to gain competitive advantages. You don't need to be worth millions of dollars to use these strategies. Many work for buyers at all levels if you know how to structure them properly. So if you are ready to explore some of these advanced financial strategies and start acting like the uber wealthy so that you can join them, then reach out to me at Instagram at Arjun Mortgage, or send me an email, arjun@lendclear.com, so that we can start to put together a strategy for you and help you build or add on to that real estate portfolio. Now, all of this applies, guys, whether you're buying your first investment property or your 5th vacation home. So let's work together and help you secure it. We'll see you guys on the next video.